So we're on season 4 at the moment, but I want to know what's the news for season 5.
I don't have any news.
Tell them, Emily. Emily makes these decisions. She's the real boss.
I'm the woman behind the curtain.
The news is, we are, I think, as hopeful as ever. Thankfully, our numbers have been strong, and so I don't, from behind my desk, where I never actually sit,
desk?
I don't see any reason why we wouldn't continue. But as you know, these things, change for no particular reason at any moment. So that's why we've been really pushing to try and get people to watch live these days and keep the ratings up and pound sci-fi or
we're in a really cool
Showcase or whoever to keep having on the air.
We're in a really cool age, I think, of television with just the whole worldwide interweb, as you would call it, because fans really make a difference. Like, in the past, fans are fantastic and they're great, but this is the first, I think, kind of generation of TV watchers where, their presence as a fan base really can make an impact on a network. We've seen that from, shows being brought back because they've really harassed networks to now, the internet presence of a fan base really speaks volumes. So we're excited to be here at Comic-Con. There's tons of fans, but we also love to get the message out there that, if our fans are vocal and they tell the networks they want us to come back and they spread the word and, they check in on Get Glue when they're watching the series or talk about it with each other or, trend the topic on Twitter or any of those things, that makes a difference. I mean, we get emails regularly saying, oh, we trended at this. It really does make a difference. So, our fans make a difference on whether or not we come back. So in that way, if they think, oh, it's fine, it's coming back, and they maybe not be as vocal, sometimes that can have an effect. So we say, even though we're, pretty sure we're coming back and we hope we're coming back, make sure that happens. We love for the word to get out that they want us back.
Absolutely.
Is there any ritual when a new cast member joins that you have to do a prank or haze a certain new cast member? What's the tricks that have to be done?
Our ritual consists of coming into the trailer every single morning and just going at it. What does that mean?
Would you like to rephrase that?
Or elaborate.
Verbally going at it. Just downloading about everything in life. You just come in and it's like you start the day and you can start the day it's inevitably, I would say the ritual is, a new cast member comes in and whatever our energy is as a cast in the morning, we attack that person with that energy, whether they like it or not. That's what I mean by going at it. Like, they come into the trailer and we either, if we're in like the best, most hyper mood ever, they're gonna get that full force. The boys will just start hugging on them repeatedly.
Yeah, we're pretty immediately welcoming. Maybe overwhelmingly so.
Yeah, like I think people are overwhelmed.
Wonder a little what they've gotten themselves into. Thankfully, they grow to enjoy us.
But I've said this before in interviews, but I'll say it again. We film on the edge of nowhere, it feels like. Not that Nova Scotia's nowhere, but it feels like that sometimes. And so whenever anyone comes in from the outside, we're like, hello!
Right.
Tell us of the food you have eaten in the faraway lands. What is it like out there?
Right. What news you bring.
What news you bring from the Shire.
So you really are like a little small town yourselves.
Absolutely, and then they have such, they're usually coming from somewhere relatively far away, so there is the whole culture shock of being in this little world that we shoot in. So
I have a story about that. Not now. I can tell you later.
Tell me later.
Tell
him now.
Come on.
I know. I just didn't want to interrupt you because I keep on talking.
And I was gonna. Yep. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And there. Yep. Go ahead, Emily.
Okay.
Emily has a story about
another
that.
sci-fi person,
Mhm.
Colin Ferguson from Eureka.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Right.
I've done many of, event with Colin, and I tell him all the time, yes, we film in a really small town, we're out in the middle of nowhere, and he kind of would be like, ah.
Right, good line.
He came to join us this season, obviously, and the first email / an email which turned into a phone call, on the phone, he literally said to me, I don't know where, like, literally, I'm out in the middle of nowhere. Like, am I really, could we be 5 minutes? I don't know where I am. And I just started laughing at him because he's given me such a hard time for so long about that, like, yeah, it's hard filming on location, it's hard. But literally, he was
one restaurant.
Yeah, he woke up and he was like, you guys only have one wet. We're like, yes, we know, Colin, we're aware. Welcome to Haven.
Yeah.
It's really fun. That's kind of an initiation in and of itself.
Emily, how much fun have you had playing Lexi and Audrey, or should I say Laudry? this
Laudry.
season? And Lucas, how's it felt having a new side? William come into that relationship between Audrey and Nathan?
I don't want to talk about it. But you can answer.
No, I've been talking too much. You
Can I answer
your
your
question
question?
first. We could, let's trade answers.
No, how does it feel to have a new, well, I mean, it's great for Nathan to have someone to, I guess I can't say exactly what the nature of our relationship is yet, but to have other characters involved in his tiny little world.
I thought you were going to say brain.
Tiny little brain. And in the same way, I guess, for me, just as the person, Lucas, that's not the character, it's really nice to have Colin around. He's a great guy and a pleasure to have on set. A total ass and a lot of fun. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I would say it's been a lot of fun playing Laudry. Lexi and, not so much playing Laudry. Laudry kind of drives me nuts. And that is to say when the two are like going this way. Like it's kind of crazy because I think I've fought pretty hard throughout the season to really clearly say, who is this right now? Who is this right now? Are we going to make it clear to the fans? Are we... So for the first 4 episodes, it was really fun playing Lexi. I mean, especially episode 5, which I think just aired here. It was when Lexi comes into Haven, and it was directed by a great new director we had this year, Rick Boda.
Mm-hmm.
And we just had a lot of fun because he would pull me aside and he'd say, like, let's do something fun with Lexi, and that, how can she get on Nathan's nerves more and more and more. And so that was fun for me to play because
I was like, I have an idea.
Trying to get into his personal space because, here he's dealing with the fact that Audrey's around, but she's not around. And so the comedic side of Lexi was really fun to play. Just, I would try things, and instead of people saying like, oh no, take it down a notch, they'd be like, great, you can just be bigger and more out there. But it is a little tricky finding my way back to Audrey and feeling like she's clear because I feel like, she has Lexi so much on top of her now in so many ways. So that was a little tricky. But I tried to add so many layers to Lexi that as Audrey begins to be reintroduced to Haven, some of those things come off. Like her nose rings or her hair or the different types of her clothes that you sort of see her kind of blend back into.
Her hair falls off.
Yeah, it comes out from
in the
stress.
next episode.
Spoiler
Yeah,
alert.
yeah, it's a trouble, a balding trouble.
I heard you fought for that nose ring as well.
I did, and I won.
Well, tell him about how that. Tell him the story when you should.
Oh, right. Well,
or
that's
is that not
exciting.
allowed to be told?
I
they were
think
like,
I've.
I wonder what
I know. No, I've told it anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So
Forget it.
no, I haven't. I think I've said it. I can't remember who I said it to, but it was really funny because coming back. First of all, I had just had a baby like 6 weeks prior, so it was all sort of. I think everybody was kind of concerned is a nice word to say. We had no clue what she's going to look like after she had this baby, and so what are we going to do character-wise? And so it was really fun to play Lexi and just have a completely different look altogether. And as you know, our main offices are in LA. We also have some offices in Toronto, and we shoot in Nova Scotia. So our production, network, studio, all that's kind of spread out across the continent. So I don't exactly get to see everyone before we start shooting. So we were starting up the season. They were developing the look for Lexi. We, tried on a bunch of wardrobe and came up with some photos and, went through hair and makeup of what we thought looked really, really good. And sent that off. And everybody was like, awesome, looks fantastic. Now we just want to see this on Emily. And everybody was like, it is Emily. And they were all, wait a second, no way, which was such a compliment to the transformation that had happened. Also was a little bit disconcerting, like, you don't know who I am, this is me. But it was really, really cool to actually have, created an entirely new look and to be so disguised, As an actor, that's one of my favorite things, is to try to not trick people, but to try to make them, pull them into a story. So the fact that we had done that with our own people was exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the one?
That was the one I wanted. That was good. That you did good. Yeah, you did good.
Now tell them about it. I did fight for the nose ring, though. There was a little character I played when I got my Taft-Hartley, which is the first little step you get when you become SAG, and she was a little low-rent sort of bartender rat, and she had, really short blonde hair and a nose ring, and I really liked her, and I didn't ever feel like I got to play her. So when they sort of pitched this character to me, I thought, I think she would have, we want something very distinct. When you look at these people, when you take snapshots of each of these characters from Audrey's life, you want to know that's her. And so that was something, and I said, I really think people will like, I don't think it'll be too much. No, but I really think, and I just kept fighting, and they let it through just to see, what network thought, and network loved it. So I got to keep it. Boom. Boom.
Yeah.
That's right. Mike,
it was a victory.
Down. It was.
Just out of interest, the show is obviously based on a Stephen King novel. Has he put any notes down about, or is he actually, do you know if he's ever watched the show yet? Or has he kept himself away from it, distanced?
I don't know if he's watched it.
He talks to Emily most days, but not me.
Yeah. Yeah. He actually called before. No.
He's calling.
He's
actually.
calling now. He actually called your mom.
My mom said that Stephen really likes the show. No, we know that Sam and Jim, the creators of the show, got a lovely message from him when they started, with his best wishes and congratulations and support, and that meant a lot to them. They're huge fans of his, and he's basically let them do with his material what they would, and we're trying to get him in, I think, to do a cameo perpetually. Yeah. There's an open invitation. It would be very cool, but he doesn't really have an ongoing relationship with how the show's progressing.
I don't think he tweets either, so I don't really have a way to get in contact with him.
Is that why you'll get so many intertextual references, all the other sort of bits of his universe that they like to mention, like Shawshank and so forth? Is it because they've got that open relationship, that sort of relationship, that thanks from him to play with the world?
I think so, yeah. And just because they're huge fans, and we have a bunch of huge fans in the writers' room. And I think the Easter eggs now are like mostly Nick and Brian's doing, right?
But it's something I think we've tried to, when the show began, and it's a spin-off of the world from Stephen King, and so we have his blessing, and we do realize that we are, that we mention him quite frequently in reference to the show. So you want to do him justice, and we have a large fan base of people that are fans of his work, so it's kind of a fun added bonus for people that really read all of his literature to be able to go through and note everything.
Right, and there's so much stuff in there that is like, there's so many parallels, and from very obvious ones to completely theoretical sort of parallels that I couldn't even begin to talk about because I don't have a clue. But as you know, he's got so much material out there. His real fans, his big fans, I think would have a lot of fun mining Haven for that set.
Cool.
When Lucas and the guys were over last October, they said that you had a bit of a tough time on set being surrounded by a bunch of lads from my team.
I'm in therapy as a result.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What did you say?
We said
What did you say?
I
well.
do believe you said that she made her first dirty joke that year.
Oh yeah.
That I what?
That's right. That's right.
That
We
I-
did. We said that you were basically like the girl surrounded by a bunch of guys
right,
that
yeah.
are making like juvenile
Yeah.
jokes
The story
most
of my
the
life.
time.
Uh-huh.
But that you had really come a long way. In fact, last year, you
Oh, that
started,
I've begun to joke like you.
Mhm.
Yeah. Talk as a native.
You've
student,
come a long way,
essentially.
like sort of degressing to
The thing is I like to keep a low profile on set.
a low profile.
I'm an observer. There's a lot of things I
What
could say.
Are you?
There's a lot of things I could
This
say
is
and
not
I
true
should
at all.
say. It is
This
so
is
true.
not-
You don't even know.
I don't.
You don't know.
I don't even know.
No, but I do thoroughly enjoy shock factor as well, but it's in reverse. Like the boys like to, like especially Eric likes to shock me with stuff and likes to see how I'm gonna react. And I like the reverse shock factor, which is just keeping it low for a really long time and then sending out a zinger to
Yeah.
which they get
The long-
stunned.
long
and you
con.
see them, yes, the
3
very
years
long
she
con.
held that. Like, nailed him. He was like, his head exploded.
It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. No, but I made a joke, I think, recently about how I just spend my days on set going like this.
Yeah.
I consider myself a refuge for the outsiders that come in and get, berated by the energy. I'm like, if you want to join in, feel free. But if you need a place to call home, come over and hang out. They'll be okay. No, but we really have a really good time. So.
Yeah, but it is not. It's not. It's not very academic kind of place to work.
Not so much. No.
Although we would really support that if we had an academic come to Haven
Yeah.
and wanted to, pursue their studies on set, they could. That would be fine. But
Yes.
they would just have to deal with a lot of,
It
fart
is.
jokes.
It's
too.
funny. I think I was the kind of girl growing up where I hate to say it, but I didn't have a ton of girlfriends anyway. Like I tended to gel more with guys in general. Like I just got their humor, kind of was more of a tomboy and enjoyed that company more because it was just less drama, or so I thought. But so I feel I feel at home. It's like the brothers I never had. I do have a brother. He's younger than me. Anyway. Mhm.
Yeah, the brothers, the idiot
That I didn't
brothers you
have.
never
Yeah,
had.
I have a great
Yeah.
brother. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Is there anything you guys want to see for your characters? Something that hasn't happened yet that you would like to have a crack at? Get the writers to write it for you, and off you go.
Ooh, here's your
Stuff. Just stuff. There are all sorts of things, but that's a really hard question to answer because I've thought myself, like, what would I, okay, I'm gonna go sit down with them and talk about what I really want to see and what do I want to see. I have a hard time answering that, but I guess I would like I'd like to see I'd like to explore some more of Nathan's history.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are all sorts of story possibilities in, his dad, his mom, what happened to his dad, what happened to his mom, his adoption. But I don't know if those are, selfishly, I would love to do that. I don't know if that is what the show is supposed to be necessarily. But I don't really know. I think it's going to be tricky. We have, knowing where we end this season, from my perspective, going into next season with I'm going to need a fresh set of eyes, I think. Nathan needs a bit of a reevaluation of things, and he's I would like to see him like have a big personality shift, or I'd like to see a big change in him. Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, I don't know how long we can,
What are you saying?
Well, I can't say what it is.
I think it's funny that he said that, though, because I feel like when people ask me that question, I tend to usually go to the Nathan camp of things. Like, I feel like he's a huge question mark, which is such a great piece of the Haven puzzle. I think that's a lot of the allure of who Nathan is as a person. But I always have said, I'd like to see his apartment or where he lives, and we get a glimpse. We just recently get a glimpse of that, sort of, but barely 2 seconds of it. And I'd like to I would think it'd be kind of cool to see different points of view from, because we're always sort of attacking a trouble, but I think the way that maybe Vince and Dave view Haven, or the way that Nathan's day and how he does, I think that would kind of an interesting spin on things. And I also think there's just a layer of mythology that we sort of held up season 1 with Lucy and the Chief, and Nathan as a little boy and Duke as a little boy, and that sort of 1983-esque version of Haven that sort of supported the whole first season, to me, it is very interesting, and I'd love to kind of give that some more weight or delve into that more.
Guys, I think we'll have to stop it there, if that's okay.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Well, I just wanted to say, from a story, other than specifically character perspective, from a story perspective, I would love to see, I think all of us would like to see, less concern about the trouble of the week in general, and more, maybe a new way to approach episodes, whether that's, a day in the life of a certain character, or whether that's more time travel, but more exploring that mythology in general, rather, and weaving in maybe the trouble that they're dealing with, but having it focus less on that case.
Cool.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.